Well, now we're at the closing phase of this event, and finally, I'd like to introduce our last company to come on stage, Huining Cao from Usechain, which is a identity blockchain, and they're gonna give a presentation for their public chain. At the same time, also offer some closing remarks for today's event. So if you're hungry and thirsty, you can also check out the Oh My Green booth over there. They've been a great sponsor for the event. But overall, this is a great conference. So thank you very much, and let's welcome Huining Cao.
Hi, this is last talk, but I hope this is the best. So maybe you can come get something out of this after you finish the conference here. So I'm going to have the first slides in here. Okay, so our project is Usechain empowers identity. So we have an identity-based public chain. We know that the blockchain, the first application is Bitcoin, has been around for 9 years. But other than the cryptocurrency, there's no killer applications. Why? There are lots of issues associated with that. So we have a first self-sovereign identity chain. And there's like 3 bottlenecks of the blockchain industry. First is low performance. So you can only do 7 transactions for Bitcoin all over the world. Okay? So if we want to apply that for financial transactions, that's impossible. There's energy and resource waste. The energy used to mine Bitcoins is about the same as the energy used by Denmark. And now we're only like 10 million users. If we scale this to, let's say, 1 billion users, then basically the whole world will be kind of mining Bitcoins. And there's a lack of legal applications because many of the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency are based on anonymous accounts. It can do money laundering, it can do drug dealing, it can evade taxes. And so this has lots of challenges for governments. So what we have is want to resolve this issue using an address identity mapping. So this is the cornerstone of our public chain. So essentially, want to map every user to a real account on the blockchain. So that way, every transactions between the users are traceable eventually by the government. So that way, you cannot use this identity chain to do any illegal activity, such as money laundering or the tax evasion. So how do we do that? And we're going to use some technology innovations. We resolve identity issues. At the same time, we're able to, using this new technology, to be able to mine the coins more efficiently so that the speed is much higher. We can improve that to about 10,000 transactions per second in the main chain. And we also use this idea in the applications, we use subchain. So that way, you don't have to tell everyone what you did in the subchain, but within the subchain, all the transactions are broadcasted to each other. And within the subchain, we use a new technology, it's called tokenized proof of stake. That way, you can increase the speed even higher, but it's weakly centralized. So first, we have this address identity mapping protocol. Essentially, you have an identity, but it's going through the certified authorities, and that way you have open identity accounts, and that has to be approved by the whole blockchain through voting. At the same time, you have privacy in there. You can also open up anonymous accounts linked to your identity account. However, the public doesn't see it. The certified agencies, they have a kind of group of them. Each of them have piece of information, but then use zero-proof information exchange. Then they can zero-knowledge information exchange. They can verify you are linked to the anonymous accounts. So this way, all the address is on the public blockchain, and transaction data is public, but what's behind the transaction, you can choose to be identity linked or can choose to be anonymous. But the anonymity can be seen by the government if the government go to the certified agents and collect all the information about the links, then they know who are behind these accounts. So what is bring us? This brings us that in financial transactions, we have to know the true identity of everyone on this blockchain. In addition, with identity, we're able to use the consensus algorithm developed by our own team to be able to increase the speed, increase the efficiency, and make it scalable. So that's the basic idea of our public chains. We use one stone to kill two birds. We're able to have identity to do financial transactions. In addition, our consensus, our sharding are all based on identity. So that way we can have very efficient, very fast, and very scalable public chain. So innovations, we have network, data, consensus, contracts, applications. Every layer is linked with your identity. So that way, it's from bottom-up approach. We have developed our own blockchain concept, different from all the the Bitcoin structure, the Ethereum structure. It's a league of its own. How do we? What's the innovation? Because of identity, we're able to use randomized proof of work approach. As we mentioned earlier, that Professor Zhang mentioned that there's impossibility theorems in blockchain that cannot have the efficiency, cannot have the speed or scale all together. You have to sacrifice something. What do we sacrifice is anonymity, but we have speed, we have scale. So that way we can do efficient financial transactions. We can do kind of very fast payments. The randomized proof of work is based on proof of work, but with strong security. Essentially, what do we have? We have innovative randomization approach. Instead of everyone mining the one block, what do we have? We have a random function that assign a few people is going to mine the next block. So that way, it's similar to the delegated proof of stake, but here there's no election. It's everyone see a random number, then they decide that I'm chosen one to do the mining. So this way, we still have high performance because now, rather than millions of people mining a block, you only have 5 to 8 people mining the block. But it's random, nobody can attack them. So reduce the power dependence. Anytime you try to use your computational power to be ahead, then you'll be penalized. That in the future, the probability you'll be assigned this task will be smaller. So essentially, it's computation independent way of doing mining. But it depends how many accounts you have. In the long run, each account will have the same kind of amount of mining among them. So we call this randomized proof of work. And with this single innovation based on identity, we can increase the speed to about 10,000 transactions per second. And everyone, you can use a laptop, and your odds of mining the next coin the same as anybody else. In the future, we're going to use a hardware-based randomization rather than a software-based software, which we call is proof of hardware. So you have a trusted execution environment that generates random number. Then this random number will assign whoever is going to mine the next block. Okay? So we're going to have a combination of randomization through the hardware and the software. And there's some technical details. Basically, due to identity, we're able to use identity network sharding, identity transaction sharding. That way, instead of broadcasting to the whole network, the transactions conducted with the subchain will stay there and only periodically will be broadcasted to the whole chain. Another thing I want to mention is on the subchain, we're going to have tokenized proof of stake. The tokenized proof of stake is similar to DPoS, but for you to be able to participate in mining, you have to purchase the mining coin to be a fast miner. So the tokens will be auctioned off to the public. Data, we have light node client using high-level Merkle tree. That way, it's make the whole process faster. The consensus we mentioned is going to have the randomized proof of work plus the tokenized proof of stake. And the contracts with identity machine, we're able to have enhanced contracts that if there's any problem, it's going to self-examine itself before any problem occurs. And in the application, we want to focus on the financial transactions, like loans, like exchanges, stable coins, and asset management. So the ecosystem, we have a self-sovereign identity. Surrounding this identity, we are able to use the certified authorities to have privacy in that sense that you can still have anonymous accounts. But the link between your identity account to the anonymous accounts are only known by a group of our third parties. Through the combined information they have, they can link the private, your anonymous accounts to your identity accounts. And with identity accounts, it has value because now any transactions that can be done off the chain cannot be convincingly completed on the chain. Then you have rights of your own data because now all the data are controlled by central agencies. Now with this blockchain approach, you, through your private key, control all your transaction data on the chain. So now we have solved this identity issue. So the KYC and the ML then can be resolved. So the government will be friendly with this approach. Now with this at hand, we're also able to increase the speed of transaction, increase the scale of the system of the users, in addition, reduce energy consumption. Now we can build lots of the decentralized applications, dApps, on this blockchain. We can use this to do decentralized exchanges. And there's lots of problems with centralized exchanges. Some of them, like in the case with OK coins, what will happen is the contract in the exchange is actually like 40% lower than what's off in the other exchanges. What happens is you have leveraged buys, or you have short sales, and the manipulators in the exchange can, using kind of very large orders to push the price up and to squeeze the short sellers. At the same time, they can use kind of money they don't have, right? They can, the coins they don't have, they can sell the coins to push the price down to squeeze the margin users. And that causes lots of problems. So basically right now, the exchanges are the one making most of the money. However, we want the blockchain to be able to solve problems in society, to resolve pain points. So what we have is we can have decentralized exchanges based on this identity blockchain. Because our speed is comparable with centralized system, but still we have transparency, we have decentralized accounts, and we have permanent records that's observable by everyone. So the decentralized exchanges will be kind of will attract more investors than the centralized exchanges. right now, there's lots of decentralized exchanges, but because they're very slow, nobody wants to trade on them. And since we have resolved the speed issue, and I think this will be very useful application. Now, because of all the accounts have identity with them, so we can generate identity coins with every single identity accounts. This goes to Friedrich Hayek, and he argued that the ability to issue coins should be privatized. And using our system, everyone, as long as you register to our blockchain and it gets verified that it's a true person, then you can issue your own identity coin. So with this, we can do cryptocurrency payments with the speed that's comparable to WeChat and PayPal. We can do P2P loans because now every identity every account is associated with each real person. Then they can use their own identity coins to get loans. And because all the coins are tradable, so all the P2P loans now become tradable assets. And that's very different from a non-tradable asset. It brings liquidity to the P2P loan market. And the other sharing economy, we can use the same approach because the key for blockchain is not you can raise money through ICOs. It's because it brings trust among strangers. If you lie, if you misbehave on the blockchain, everybody in this community knows about it, and it's there forever. That's the key, is to build a trust. And we are able to, using this new identity blockchain, to build trust among people. So essentially, what I want to emphasize is that Usechain personalized identity token. So this is the best tool for identity value to circulate. We mentioned about cryptocurrency payments, and there are many ways to support this because some governments now do not allow you to use cryptocurrency for payments. What you can do is you can do a mixture. You have a legal currency like fiat money. You can have a mixture like cryptocurrency plus fiat money. If in like countries like Laos, like in Japan or in Germany. However, in countries like China, which does not allow you to pay with digital currencies, what you can do is you can use the digital currencies to exchange for discount coupon, and then use that discount coupon to pay for your services. That way, you can go around the regulation. Now, with decentralized exchange, what we have is high security. Now, in the past, with centralized exchanges, what happens is the exchange, sometimes they steal your money. Okay, in the case of Mt. Gox, the CEO said, sorry, the hackers stole all your money. But actually, he's the hacker. Nobody knows who actually stole the money, right? So now, with the decentralized exchange, your money is controlled by your own private key. And there's no transaction cost because it's between two persons. And we can do lots of cryptocurrency. I'm going to skip this because there are many applications you can do. So what's the advantage of our team? We have top technical team. Now we have people from the Shenzhen University, from UC Berkeley, and from Yale and Columbia who are professors in cryptography. And they are able to work out this, the best approach to use identity coins. And we have top business school resources. The two founders are from, I taught at UC Berkeley, and Professor Bao Hongsan was a chair professor at Carnegie Mellon. Among other advisors, we have Zhang Shenli from Shenzhen University and Wei Shangjin from Columbia University. So basically, we have lots of resources among academics. Essentially, we want to achieve some balance that we view that it's not kind of the decentralized applications are always the best. It's not that centralized applications are always best. There's a balance between centralization versus decentralization. There's a balance between your own identity versus anonymous accounts. And there's a balance between technology and business applications. So I'm the founder and the president for this company. And then Professor Bao Hong-Sang is the associate dean, is also the co-founder for our company. And we have technical teams, chief scientist Shenli Zhang from Shenzhen University, and Feng Zhan is the senior financial specialist. Eric is our chief operating officer, and Andy Zhou is the CTO for the networks, and Lin Zhao is the chief product officer, and Amanda is PR manager. So these are our advisors, and we have Lucas has his own cryptocurrency in CyberMiles, and Xiang Jingwei is the professor of economics from Columbia University. Our roadmap. So we actually started this in about 2016, and we have put forward the concept of identity tokenization. At that time, it was brand new, and nobody was like pushing for identity. Last year, we launched the Usechain project, and then we designed the consensus mechanism, the system architecture, and the basic protocol. We developed the underlying public blockchain. So right now, we are still doing some testing, but our main line, the blockchain network will be online in June, and then end of June. So first quarter, we have developed some basic smart contracts on the blockchain. So here, we for every identity tokens, you can use in decentralized smart contracts that exchange with each other. So essentially, you have a limit order book, and you can put your own identity coins there, and you kind of give a price, and the counterparty will, who takes the other side, will complete the smart contract. The second quarter, we're going to develop a privacy protection system and have a group of certification authentication center service. And there, each CA will have some piece of your information with your anonymous accounts, but not all. So you need a group of them to be able to figure out the linkage. So that way, you still have privacy, but the government can see everything. In the third quarter, we're going to develop the software-based RPO, the random proof of work consensus algorithm in a subchain. So combined with the tokenized proof of stake, and that way in the subchain, we're able to launch some applications. And in the end of this year, we want to do cross-subchain communication and also allow the main chain and subchain to be able to communicate. So this way, all the applications will be on the same chain. The main chain will be slower because it kind of is the final storage of all the data in this ecosystem. But every subchain can be substantially faster. So this way we can resolve these cross-chain issues mentioned earlier. In the future, when we have lots of data with our user accounts goes to like 1 million or 10 million accounts, then there will be lots of data, lots of transactions generated among different accounts, and the human cannot, system cannot analyze this kind of data, and we're going to develop the artificial intelligence systems to be able to analyze the behavior of transactions. We're going to develop a tokenized multi-node system to increase the speed, and right now we're still, at least within 2 years, we're using the software-based randomization. But in the future, we plan to combine software-based randomizations with hardware-based randomization to increase the security of this algorithm. And we want to have like all the businesses, if they feel that identity is important, they feel KYC is important, then when they do like loans, when they do asset management, when they do insurance, they can use our public blockchain as the basis for the application. Decentralized exchange is in our plan. And another thing I want to mention is that because we have resolved the identity issue, we have resolved the speed and scale, and we will be the real one to be able to do mobile, person-to-person payments. And with that, to do actual blockchain payments, you need a stable chain, a stable coin. And using our structure, we plan to eventually also issue a stable coin that's linked to indices, linked to like dollars, euros, and so on. But this all are based on the identity blockchain. So this way, we know that USDT is the one that's now pegged to dollar. It has lots of problems because governments doesn't allow that. But with the identity chain, we can resolve this money laundering issue, and using this strategy to generate a stable coin that will be consistent with the government regulation. So basically, we view that identity is the future. The US chain empowers identity and make everyone on chain. All right, so that's basically my presentation. Any questions? All right, so I think this will conclude today's conference, and we still have, for the VIPs, we have dinner ready for you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'll conclude here.